Hello and welcome to my mid-year book tag. I haven't done a tag on this channel since my very first video, which was the newbie book tag, and I thought it's about time. I've been seeing this book tag everywhere, and it seems like a good way to reflect and reset for the second half of the year, especially with the new releases, because before looking at these questions, I hadn't even been thinking about any new releases for the rest of the year. I was still stuck on the beginning of the year. So I'm excited to get into it and chat about all things books for the rest of 2026. The very first question is, what is the best book of the year so far? I actually found this one a little bit difficult to choose, not because there were so many good books, but because I feel like there weren't that many that I was just incredibly in love with. Not as many as I would have hoped. I was kind of sad going through the list, but there are a couple, and I was deciding between two. And those two are Almost Life and Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and I ended up going with Intermezzo. Both of these were 5-star books for me this year, but Intermezzo is one that just really stuck with me. Thinking back to this book, sometimes when I think back to books, I can't remember too much, but for this one, it still feels very ingrained in my mind. I have a whole reading vlog on it if you want a little bit more in depth of what I thought of it, but it's essentially following our two main characters who are brothers. They are both grieving the same death, the death of their father, but it looks very different for both of them. And we're seeing their relationship with other people, how it changes throughout this time. And one of my favorite parts about this book was their inner monologue, because both of them are such different characters and you can really tell by the monologue how different they are. I find sometimes characters' inner voices kind of all sound similar, but for these, they thought so differently, and it really showed in the writing. Like, the writing was different for both characters, and I loved that. I would love to see that more often. They were just such unique characters, and this was definitely my favorite book of the year so far. The second question is the best sequel I've read so far in 2026. And with this one, there's a little bit of a problem. I don't read very many series, so I only read one sequel so far this year. So that kind of means that by default, it was my favorite, but it really wasn't my favorite. Like, it was my favorite sequel, but I didn't really enjoy the book. I didn't really think it needed to be a sequel, and that is Find Me. It is the second book to Call Me By Your Name. I really, really love Call Me By Your Name. I remember when I read it, it was one of my favorite books at the time. I want to do a reread and see if that is still true, but Find Me, I just found it wasn't very necessary. I still got the same writing style that I wanted from the author, but we followed some different characters, and I just found myself feeling like I didn't really need to read it. And I feel like that is the exact opposite of what you want from a sequel. You want it to build on it, and it needs to feel kind of necessary to have after the first one, especially if you loved the first one. So this is my favorite sequel of the year, I guess, but take that as you wish. The next question is new releases that I haven't read yet, and I love this question because at the beginning of the year, I usually set a list of the books that are releasing in 2026 that I really want to get to, and even as they release, sometimes I don't end up getting to them. And one of them that I was really excited for was Is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen. It is her new release. It came out in January, and I still haven't read it, but I really want to. It is high up on my list. I've read every other book by Emily Austen, and I have loved every single one. Emily Austen just writes dark humor so well. They're so funny, but the characters are going through a lot of mental health struggles, and a lot of them also have a little bit of a mystery element in them. They're so entertaining, and I love them. So this is definitely still on my list. I do want to get to it. I just don't even own it yet. I've been very particular about buying books and trying to buy less books, so I haven't bought it, but I do want to get to it. Another new release that I want to get to is Mother Clown. This one is one that wasn't originally on my radar. I still haven't seen anybody talk about it, but I've been running into it in different independent bookstores. I keep seeing it on the display case, and the cover catches my eye, but also the story sounds so interesting and so unique, and it's intriguing me so much. Just quickly, it is about this girl. I believe her dad dies, and it kind of changes the trajectory of her life, and she decides that she wants to go to Paris to go to clown school. And her mom ends up following her, and they have this interesting relationship in Paris, and she gets to find out a lot more about her mom and maybe reasons why her mom would want to be there. I think her mom put creative pursuits on hold or something like that, and she's also trying to re-find herself. So it sounds so interesting, like clown school. I've never heard any book of the sort, but that is definitely another new release that I want to get to. The next question is the most anticipated release for the rest of 2026. And let me tell you, the second half of the year is just so much more dry in terms of new releases, I find, at least for the types of books that I'm usually interested in. The first half of the year is so fruitful for new books, and I find the second half of the year is a little bit lackluster. I was really going through and trying to find books that I'm excited about that are releasing, and I found a couple, and I am excited about them, but it's crazy the difference, at least in my opinion, the first half to the second half of the year. One of them is Sophie Standing Here by Meg Mason, and it comes out September 29th, so pretty soon actually. And this one sounds very unique as well. It is a book about books. Our main character is finding solace in a favorite author from her 20s, and she starts rereading and reading so many of her books, and she's obsessed with the author herself and thinks she could be friends with her. And this obsession unfolds from there, and I believe it's mostly her using this as kind of a coping mechanism. I don't know too much about it. Literally just found it as I was looking up for this video, but it's one that I'm really excited about now. I've heard really good things about this author, and their books have been compared to a lot of books that I do enjoy, so I do want to get to this one now by the end of the year. And another one that I found while looking up new releases is Take What You Can, which comes out on August 4th, and it just seems like such a good, fun summer read. It has some heavier topics in it, but it is kind of combined with this adventure exploration, a lot about the food scene as well, restaurant scene. I think it's on the cover here, but I really love that in books for some reason. I love a restaurant in real life, but I also really love them in books. I feel like they can be portrayed so interestingly, especially with the whole cast of employees. There's so many people working together, and it can be really stressful, and I find that that dynamic can be shown in books very interestingly. Love when people are attending the dinners, love when people are working the dinners, love the dinners. Okay, I love the dinners. For biggest disappointments, it feels so rude and mean to answer this question, but I do have two. And they were huge disappointments. We first have Alice Sadie Celine. I was really excited about this book. The cover itself just screams a book that I would enjoy, and it was nothing. I feel like I got really nothing out of this book. I can barely remember the reasons why I did or didn't like it, but I felt like there was just no purpose. And usually I'm okay with that because I love to be along for the ride, but I didn't even get anything during the ride. So this was a disappointment. Another one was Like a Bird. This was on my physical TBR for so long. I was really excited about it. It tackles a lot of challenging topics, a lot of heavier topics, but it did so in a way that I was feeling like I was reading a book for like a 13-year-old. It also kind of felt like some sort of drama fantasy. You know, when they just throw a bunch of dark, heavy topics at you, but the characters are having like the best outcomes with them somehow, meeting cute guys everywhere, and people are falling in love with them, but then also their grandma's dead. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's giving like 90210 or some sort of teen drama where we're getting so much trauma, yes, but it's not dealt with in a very real way, and the characters don't experience it in a real way, if that makes sense. So a little bit of a letdown. And biggest surprise was actually a very recent read for me, and it was Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. It's a surprise because I have kind of stopped reading contemporary romance just because I ran into so many of them that were so cheesy and it was starting to really get on my nerves and I just couldn't read it. Like I would have to put down the book and cringe, and it just kept happening. And then I decided to give this one a chance though, because the show was coming out and I've heard good things. I had some time on the beach and I thought, why not? And I actually really enjoyed it, and it kind of ignited a spark in me to now look for some more romances, but very carefully so I don't run into the issue I had before, because I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do the TikTok references and the Taylor Swift references. I can't do it. Nothing against those two things, but in a book when I'm reading, it just really cringes me out. So I was surprised. For book that made me happy, I found this one extremely challenging because not a lot of the books I read make me happy. I don't think I really read to be happy. Like, they make me happy in the sense that they're good, so I'm happy about that, but the topics aren't happy. So I don't actually feel like I can answer this question properly. The closest I could come to it was Discontent, which already you can tell it's not a happy book, but it was extremely entertaining. So that's what I'm going to say happy is. I was really entertained and I really enjoyed myself while I was reading it. This is about a woman who's working a 9-to-5 and she's very dissatisfied. It's not what she wanted to do with her life, and she's filling her time with drugs and YouTube. Hey guys on YouTube. And she's falling apart. And we see how she is at work. She is perfectly composed, professional, and then at home, she is living kind of a different life. The employees at her work go to a weekend away, and everything kind of unravels. Her work appearance doesn't stick around for the weekend. And it was very entertaining. I found it fun, and it made me happy. Even though I said that no books really make me happy, I also don't think I cry that much in books either, so I'm kind of a neutral gal, but I'm pretty sure I cried in Almost Life, at least a little bit. I think I produced a little bit of tears in Almost Life. I really enjoyed this book. Like I said at the beginning, it was one of my 5-star reads, and it was emotional. I was really emotionally connected to these characters. We follow them over so many years as they are in and out of love, in different relationships, in different life stages, and it is heartbreaking. So I'm pretty sure I cried in this. I don't have any video evidence, but I'm pretty sure. And I do recommend this book, whether or not you want to cry. This is a lot of talking in one go. I'm kind of out of breath. The next question is the most beautiful book I bought this year. So I'm guessing in terms of the cover. I don't have any special editions or things, but this is the most beautiful book, and I bought it really recently. It is The Wall, and it's simple. It's very simple, but I think that it is stunning, in my opinion. And even on the back, we have the mountain landscape as well. I just think it's gorgeous, stunning, very simple. This is like my ideal, absolutely ideal book cover. And the final question, but I think the most important question of all, is all of the books that I for sure need to get to by the end of 2026, and I have 4 on this list. First one is No Matter What by Cara Bastone. I have the physical copy somewhere here, but I'm feeling kind of lazy and I don't want to go grab it, so I'll put it here. But I really want to read this one. Like I said, I want to read a few more romances that I have high hopes that I will actually enjoy, and this one specifically, and other books by Cara Bastone, I've heard that they're more mature, they're following older characters, heavier topics, and this one specifically, they are already married and they are facing some turmoil, and that is just very interesting to me, and I think I'm gonna like it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it. I need to try this by the end of the year, and then if I do like it, Cara Bastone has quite a few other books that are really popular as well, so that opens up some more book options for me, and that's always a good thing. So that's number 1. The next one that I have to read by the end of the year is The Passion According to G.H. by Clarice Lispector. I've read one other book by Clarice Lispector this year, really loved it. I need to read another one. And this one seems to be the most popular one, if I'm not mistaken. I always see people talking about this one, and I think it is a must read. We are going to find out what happens with this woman in one room with a dead cockroach. I can't wait. The third one that I need to get to is Lost Lambs, purely because it feels like a 2026 read. It's one of those books that was so popular at the beginning of the year, and I think that if I don't get to it in 2026, I might never get to it. It's like one I have to read during the time that it's been popular. But this one is a very chaotic family saga, I believe. And I've heard great things, and I just need to get to it. And the last book that I need to get to is Sunburn, purely because this has been on my list for so many years, and I've been saying I need to save it for the summer, save it for the summer, and then the summer passes, and then I can't read it until the next summer. So we're in the summer now, and I need to read it. Otherwise, I won't read it until 2027. So that is the last book that I absolutely need to get to by the end of the year. That is the end of my mid-year book tag. Thank you so much for watching this video. I can't believe that you stayed till the very end. If you're still here, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video.